Okay guys, welcome back, and we've got a special guest with us today that you may recognise. We've got Paul Davies in from the Richmond Hill Golf Club. Good to see you again, pal.
Thanks for having me back, guys.
No problem at all. And we done a driver fit with Paul in a previous video.
Yep, we did.
We looked at his driver. Paul's a ping staff player, so
he is, yep.
We're going to follow this on and look at Paul's irons.
So we had a really good benefit from the G400 Max.
Yep.
It was a great fitting. I think you must have been pretty happy with how that went.
Super happy.
So I know he was anxious to come back for the irons, and so that's what we're going to do today, and see what we can pick up on those.
Exactly. So we're nearly in season now. We've probably got a couple more weeks, and we'll be the floodgates will open. So you're obviously dying to get in and get them sort of specced out. Paul, tell us a little bit about your current set.
So right now I'm playing Ping Eye Blades,
Okay.
S300 dynamic gold shaft. The lies are 2.5 up, or 2.2 up and half long,
Right.
half-inch long in the shaft. Yeah, do you know what? They feel great. I've been finding everything's going right. No matter what I do, everything just
Struggling with
keeps
the
going
control
right.
of
It's
the
kind of just, the distance feels a little lower than what I'm used to from
Yeah.
previous years. I feel like I lost 5 to 7 yards, say.
Interesting.
And on every iron, not just some, on every iron, and everything's just online and hooking.
Yeah, so the pulls, because your
pull
Paul's
is
left-handed,
there,
so
yeah.
a pull for Paul. So, and we've played some golf this summer. Those are the ones that I saw where it really affected your score because it screws up your yardage control. You obviously probably missed the green if it's pulled, and like it just was definitely your issue.
Yeah,
this
there
year.
wasn't much. There's not much fading going on with my irons anymore.
And that's the other
which is
thing. You're
tough for me
trying to
handle.
fade it,
Yeah.
and then it would go right on you.
I throw in the 5, 6, 10-yard draw
Yeah.
all the time is my stock shot, and once in a while I just leave everything wide open, and then just a big block. You're like, where did that just come from?
Exactly.
Right.
The thing is when you're asking of your swing to produce a fairly neutral shot, and that shot turns turns over from left to right, a big draw for you. You go, geez, that felt like a neutral swing.
Yeah.
When you're working with a skilled player, the flaw is the club.
Yep.
Very, very seldom are you seeing a big problem with the player's ability to control their own swing. So it's the swing plus the club equals the complete wrong result for what we're looking for. So, okay, good stuff. Well, let's hit a few. Let's get some baseline numbers from yours, Paul.
Okay.
And let's see what we're dealing with.
All right.
Okay, Paul. So a selection of 5 pretty solid strikes from you there. Was that pretty reflective of what you see? That's
Pretty much what I get, yeah.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, some are really, really solid. Some feel a little low toey, but they all kind of have that same shot shape to them all the time.
Yeah, definitely the miss, kind of starting online, and it just kind of draws a little bit too much. So it's going to run through the delivery numbers a little bit. So sure, we have the path coming from the inside.
Yep.
Face is a little close to that path. We should see about 5 degrees. Yep, right on there. Toe is marginally down dynamically. Okay, so delivery-wise, absolutely fine. Obviously, the biggest thing we need to influence here is just that face angle. We've got to try and keep that face angle a little bit closer to the path in order to straighten the flight out. Let's chat about Paul's equipment.
Yeah.
Okay. Swing speed of 92 miles an hour. Probably has edged into X-Flex.
Okay. Yeah.
So probably S300, and bearing in mind S300, when you lengthen it gets softer.
Okay.
So we're probably playing a shaft that's playing softer than a standard S300.
And that would explain why your longer clubs, you're more prone to that pull shot.
Yeah.
Because it's essentially playing softer the longer his irons get.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we're looking at I would say that the dynamic lie angle being a little bit toe down, that may also be a little bit of droop from the shaft as well.
Okay.
So I'll be really curious when we go into a slightly stiffer shaft.
Let's just make sure we show people what you're talking about. So droop is the shaft bending this way.
Right, so in that video, we done a video this morning, we were talking about how CGs like to line up if they can. If there's movement in the material, which there is in the shaft, that will bend, the CG of the shaft will try and line up with the CG of the head.
Right.
Which basically means the shaft is going to bend, if I can kind of move this enough, move it that way.
That's the droop.
Yeah,
that's what you're talking about.
That's the 262 gram on the 6 iron is actually the dominant weight. So it will try to actually pull downward for the CG of the head to align with the CG of the shaft.
Right.
And it will try and make that happen as much as possible.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay? So that's how CGs try to align if they're allowed to, and that's how flex plays a big part in deflection. Okay?
Gotcha.
So, so Paul, I think that shaft being a little bit too soft for you is probably giving you a little excess downward deflection.
Okay. Interesting.
That's really interesting because I thought I was going to have to go the other way. I thought I was going to have to go softer.
Well, I mean, and I think we'll get it a little more naturally from the lie angle. We'll get that face pointed a little bit more left. We know we've touched on lie angle a little bit recently with some other videos, but I think that's one where we can really help Paul with his irons.
But as you said, the shaft is likely the opportunity to make the most difference versus a couple other fits we've done. It was pretty much all lie angle that we kind of changed the direction, but you're thinking maybe the shaft is the bigger player there.
I mean, you know, with Paul, it's going to be, the face is always going to be a little bit to the left. It has to be because that path is quite a lot from the inside. Right. 6.6 is quite a lot from the inside, Paul. So you're going to be shaping it a little bit left to right, but we just can't have it crossing the line like that. We have to take that curvature and shift it to the left a little bit more. So all in all, decent performance. We need more accuracy, and we probably actually need a bit more ball speed. We need a little bit more bang for your buck out of the distance as well.
I'm okay with that.
So in terms of the lunge and spin, they're not too bad as they are right now. Paul isn't overly steep. 2.8 down. Dynamic loft is pretty low. So let's see what the height's coming in at. 102 average. Okay.
So it might just be. So you're saying that those variables are good. Like his launch and spin are good. It wouldn't be a case where he needs less or more loft.
No,
it's
not really.
Ball speed coming from a different source is what you want.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, using a different shaft, we could get a little more efficiency from the way the shaft performs.
Sounds good.
Okay, right, Paul. Let's give you something else. Okay, Paul, really good with that one. We definitely reduced that curvature a lot. We eliminated that right miss. I mean, if we just look at that little pattern of shots there, if anything, it was hanging on the left side. So much more like it. Ball speed spiked up a little bit. So we changed you from the S300 into the Project X 6.5, so we went lighter but stiffer. Okay, so keeping that face a little more left side. How did it feel?
The first one that I struck with it felt way hotter. It felt like the ball jumped off the face quicker. Visually, just on the screen, looked like it was a little bit higher of a carry as well.
Yep.
Well, you know, we're looking at the face to path, and
that's massive.
Yeah, it's a big difference. We're not getting nearly as big of a discrepancy with the closed face now.
Yeah.
We've reduced that significantly.
Wow.
4 degrees is a big change in
That's
in
your pull right
delivery
there.
of the club face.
Yeah.
That's it. So you've kind of got the face and the path moving in the same direction now. So you're going to get way more energy transfer out of that. They're not kind of clashing against one another. I mean, we probably still are a little bit light on ball speed.
Okay.
So my kind of next chain of thought is to probably look at the I-200 iron for you and just see if we can get a little bit more ball speed out of that. You're a really good player, and that's evident, but you don't have as much time to dedicate to the game as you would like.
Yeah.
That's just
Not even close.
That's the reality of it. So maybe the I-blade is something that we blend in with an I-200, where you kind of go sort of 4, 5, 6, 7 I-200, 8, 9 wedge I-blade and blend the set together.
Right.
Something like that, because I would like you to have a little more firepower with the 6 iron.
Yeah.
As would I.
And you're saying that based on the club head speed that Paul is producing,
Yeah.
he could and should get a little bit more distance out of it because, and also he's hitting it very consistently now with that shaft.
Yeah.
It'd be great to add, I don't know, 5 yards or something like that would be sweet.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well let's pop that shaft feel pretty good.
Do you know what? It felt great.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I was in my own head. I was like 6'5". There's no way it's going to be a board. I won't even get it airborne.
I know.
And as I said, that first swing, it just what a different
You're hitting it great.
sensation it gave.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Right.
Especially
well,
to go
yeah.
back for a second. What I felt with the dynamic golds was everything felt like it was releasing too early. Felt like it was
Interesting.
bottoming out a lot. This felt it was actually releasing to the target a little
right
bit easier.
time.
Yeah,
That's exactly
without-
what you were saying with how it's drooping and deflecting. That's what he's feeling.
That's where obviously matching up the player speed to the shaft type is going to get the shaft to work correctly.
Right.
So that timing that you're able to get, so everything happens in the sequence that it should. What was happening with the dynamic gold clearly was it was sort of loading and unloading at a point that wasn't where Paul was ready to deliver maximum energy, impact.
Makes sense.
So cool. Right, let's try the I-200 in the Project X.
I like it.
Okay, Paul, so I-200, little bigger cavity than your I-blade, what you're used to, so should just give us that little bit more forgiveness on those misses. We have seen the miss a fraction low in the head.
Yep.
Okay, so that should kind of maintain that ball speed a little bit better.
And loft-wise, are they the same configuration?
Exact same loft, exact same lie, exact same shaft as what we were previously getting some good success out of the Project X 6.5.
So just head-to-head
half
difference.
inch long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
Okay, Paul. So 5 shots with the I-200 there, and it was definitely more forgiving.
It certainly was, yeah.
How did you feel like you struck it?
Pretty good. A little
Okay.
inconsistent. Yeah,
Yeah,
I wasn't flashing it all every single one of them
Similar
at all.
to the I-blade,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
So here's what I loved about it. The reason we wanted to look maybe at this one versus the I-blade was when you hit the I-blade good, you would get around 126 miles an hour ball speed.
Yep.
But then when you'd miss it, you would drop 2 or 3 miles an hour.
Right.
With the exact same swing pattern and strike pattern, pretty much, you never strayed from 126 hardly at all.
Right.
It was exactly the same ball speed pretty much every single time. So we were being protected way more by the cavity back there.
Right.
We picked up a little bit of distance. We picked up about half a club, 7 yards on the fly versus or certainly 5 versus the fitted
Yeah.
blade.
But 7
Sure,
from
yeah.
the original.
And that's more like what you were hoping.
That's kind of
to-
where I'm used to being is in that. That's what I felt I lost. I felt like I lost half the club.
half a club.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's where you can really see the benefit of the combo set for you is probably just having a fraction more forgiveness, so there's not so much emphasis on every shot being perfect.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So delivery similar, dynamic loft similar, dynamic lie pretty similar. A fraction more toe up. When we did see the ball curve a little bit more, Paul, didn't we? We saw that draw come
it
back.
started to work back around again.
The eye blade with the Project X was going, if anything, a little bit too much to the left.
It was. I think that would have been harder for you to work both ways, the eye blade, than this one. You'll make the adjustment, and maybe he'll be able to hit, draws and fades with that one. But that's the first time you've hit that club? The I-200, or you've hit a few with it?
I've hit the I-200 at the club a couple
But not
times,
with that shaft,
but not
I
with the
guess.
shaft.
Yeah,
no.
so.
Nothing close to the shaft.
Right.
Right. And because you didn't really feel like you had enough in the locker to swing the Project X6.
I didn't think
6.5.
I didn't think the Project 6.5 would beat me at all.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be going down. If anything, I'd be at 5.5 or even 5.0.
Yeah.
Like I thought I'd be getting to the regular side of things, not the extra stiff side of things.
And I think we saw that in the driver video as well.
Yeah.
I think you've probably gauged your shaft choice off of how far you've been hitting it, when the distance loss hasn't really been a factor of how fast you swing it. You swing it plenty fast enough.
Right.
Your clubs just haven't been efficient enough for you. So you've kind of almost been semi-misdiagnosing what's been going on, because your swing speed's great. I mean, 93.7 and 93.4.
Yeah.
It's tons.
Tons of speed, yeah.
Tons and tons of
Lot
speed.
there.
So, PGA Tour average is 92 miles an hour with a 6-iron. You're right there about that. So there's, you're in the right type of shaft.
Totally.
A little bit stiffer tip section just to stop the head from rotating too much. The one thing with I-200 would be the extra offset is probably what's creating that extra rotation.
Just that little bit.
Fraction more offset on the I-200.
But I honestly think
Visually, I can't even see too much difference. The main difference I see between the iBlade and the I-200 is there's a caveat, but I can't see the sole at the bottom.
Yeah.
Right.
The rounded toe. That's
Yeah.
all. That
Looks a bit different
That's
around
all
the
it
toe.
really is the toe is a little bit more rounded.
And I
top
think-
line's a little thicker, but nothing crazy.
And with some time with the club, I'm sure that little bit of offset, you would just get used to it, and you probably make a natural adjustment in your swing anyway, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Well, I think that's going to be much more beneficial. I think I would probably lead you into a combo set.
Okay.
iBlade is probably going to be, a little nicer to look at in the short irons for you, and I'm sure you've gotten used to those. But having the added help and sort of distance from the I-200 is really going to give you some extra horsepower in the longer shots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, really good.
Good stuff. Guys, thanks again for joining us. We've got more to come. I think we're actually talking about doing some putting with Paul.
In the future,
in the next couple
definitely.
of weeks, we're going to do some videos. I know you've been looking forward to some putting videos, so we look forward to having Paul back in, and thanks so much for joining us.